Hello. So, yeah, this is me again, and yeah, I'm going to do this video while I'm watching CPUs in level 9 fighting each other at Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So, alright, here it goes. So, alright, first we're going to have Ashnikko. So, you notice the image, it's got Billie Eilish. So, I think Ashnikko is and Billie Eilish is a good collaboration because they can make something so aesthetic and at the same time something so spooky. They could Billie Eilish could collaborate with another Halloweeny if Ashnikko could make another Halloweeny music. I hope she makes another Halloweeny song. Halloween is so good. Alright. Alright, so the second person that could be a good collaboration with Ashnikko is Iga Azalea. It's just that it matches with two white female rappers rapping together. It's kind of cool. Sorry, I'm just watching Kazuya beating up Bowser. Alright, so right here, yeah, they could make some good music together, good rapping flows together. Ashnikko and Iga Azalea, good. That even if you're white, you could make some good flows, make some good bars, and then even if you're a lady, you make some good songs, good bars. Yeah, it's not about the gender and it's not about the race. And Eminem is white, but he's one of those rappers who reach billions of streams, a successful one, even if it's white, and even Iggy Azalea, as shown. So yeah, that's why I guess Ashnikko and Iggy Azalea is a good collaboration. And lastly, a collaboration with Ashnikko and Normani. So why Normani? Well, it seems aesthetic, and then I guess the instruments could match. It seems like that the Ashnikko's instrumentals could match Normani's type, could match Normani's vibe. Because I listened to the entire Dopamine album, so I guess it could work. I think it really could work because, they have the aesthetic of being aesthetic and then being gracefully aesthetic at the same time, so splendidly aesthetic. At this point, I'm just saying aesthetic to describe it, so yeah, you know what I mean. It's aesthetic and all that. So right, next artist for me to explain why the collaborations is gonna go well. Okay, now we have my second favorite artist, Noah Sebastian from Bad Omens, and I'm going to say why Zayn Malik. Well, I've been listening to Zayn Malik sometimes. Well, his voice is high and it's really good because he also makes some dark atmosphere music, and then so is Noah. So I guess they could match well. Those two could match well. The two of them could match, and that's why I say that Zayn Malik and Bad Omens could be a good collaboration. So now you guys know. Alright. Alright. Going with Ava Max. If you're going to ask me where she's gonna match, I think Ava Max will match towards the vibe of Finding God Before God Finds Me and The Death of Peace of Mind, and at the same time the Concrete Jungle OST, because I think it's gonna sound nice if Ava Max and Bad Omens will do a song together. I mean, it did work with Iris.X, so why not with Ava Max? She could also match Finding God Before God Finds Me because of the royalty vibe that they did. Like, for example, Ava Max, Kings and Queens, and then that album from Bad Omens, the second album. The medieval royalty could match together, so I guess it could work. And then at the same time, Ava Max could match with the futuristic vibe. Hold on, I'm just gonna move on to the next CPUs who are gonna fight. Yeah, I put this in tournament mode so that the fighting will be continuous, and I'll just watch them while I'm discussing. So yeah, that's about right. Ava Max could match with the Bad Omens vibe. And now moving on to the next one, the last one. Alright, I know it sounds random. Why Big Frida? Well, I've sometimes been listening to Big Frida too, and they, it could be, and they could go, her flows are loud and, it goes word after word after word. She could do it fast and she could do it loud. That's why it's kinda upbeat. That kind of rapping flow, I guess it could work on a really metal vibe. Like when the song is just full of Noah screaming and all that, and all the metal drums, and then all the metal riffs, and then the bass being so strong, just like that. I, that's how Big Video would work with the song of Bad Omens. If it's like metal and all that, because saying loud words and then going continuously flowing, like clear and clean flowing of the words that you're gonna say, rap, it's gonna be a good result. That's it. That's just my opinion about how the collaboration would work. But in my opinion, I think it would go well with Bad Omens and Big Frida. Well, now moving on to the next favorite artist of mine. Alright, for the next of my favorite artists is CupcakKe. So, a collaboration with Katy Perry that could work because CupcakKe is more on the dessert and food, because she mentioned a lot of food, like cookies and bits, and then some ice cream, and then some vanilla pudding, and then some strawberries, and then at the same time there's mayo, and then alfredo, steak with grilled cheese, cabbage. Yeah, there's a lot of food, and Katy Perry also has that kind of vibe, and she has that vibe just like in the commercial Just Eat. I can't remember what that commercial is, but I'm too lazy to remember. Anyway, so yeah, that could work. Honestly, Katy Perry would be a match on the recent album of CupcakKe, which is The Bakery. So yeah, that's how I imagine it to be. It could be a good collaboration, more likely on some sweets, and then at the same time they're gonna rap and sing about something so depressing, while the instruments are so sweet and wholesome, happy instruments with a sad meaning. Yep, that's how it goes. Yeah, CupcakKe and Doja Cat. I don't like Doja Cat that much, but I have a feeling they could work because they both rock the color pink. Yeah, they both rock the color pink, and they both rock a plain background, just like in the Eden album cover, and at the same time the Amelia album cover. Yeah, they could also be so aesthetic at the same time. And then they both could be funny. Yes, they could be funny together if they have their own collaboration, and then when they rap together. Yes, so that's why I say CupcakKe and Doja Cat. But let's not mention the fact about the How to Rob remix where she called her a pussy. So, right, next to the last one. Alright, CupcakKe and Shensia. So, everyone in the Flop Talk community, so I got to, because my Nintendo Switch is turning off by itself. So, everyone in the Flop Talk community were mistakenly thought that Pawn Me was sang by CupcakKe when it's actually Shensia. And then I thought of this idea. What if they just collab? Because CupcakKe can make great songs even when the meaning is about vaginas. And then Pawn Me can make a cool song even if it's about wet pussies. It's weird that, and I'm, how do you I feel guilty to enjoy it, but how do you make something so gross and then at the same time so satisfying to listen? The instruments are just so cool, and then the rapping flows and the rapping bars. Like when someone else is going to make a song about sex, it's boring. Like, okay, it's just that, okay, cool. But with CupcakKe and Shensia, they find it iconic. I don't know why, but it's a talent that they have. Hold on, I'm just gonna. Alright. So, there. It's a it's a weird talent that they both got just to rap up, and at the same time they're really talented because if they're not talking about sex, they're talking about something so deep and all the controversial histories that's happening to the world. And CupcakKe's bows about racism, depression, and then sexism, and then abusers. She really made the message so good. Then I don't hear much about from Shansia because I listen to Shansias, but most of them are love songs. They're also awesome. They sound from the 2010s vibes, and they're so cool. Yeah, so that's all. Wow, the flop top community has great taste. Not because about the sex though, it's because of that artist's talent. But seriously, those artists has real bars. CupcakKe has real bars. Go listen to UFO. I know that's about sex, but the first verse was so fast that even I was surprised. Go listen to it. Alright, next artist for me to discuss. Alright, so now we talk about Hayley Kiyoko, and I would say she would have a good collaboration with Kesha. Alright, so why Kesha? Because just like CupcakKe, Hayley Kiyoko could also make some awesome, meaningful songs about about what's happening in the world, about the dark times in the world. Just like One Night, her film, her. Alright, so okay, it's and even Kesha, I love Kesha's newest aesthetic and vibe because back then it's good. I also enjoy and love the times where her songs are about partying and partying, but I really fell in love with the fact that Kesha started to make songs about healing and fighting the depression and going to make it to the top, something motivational. She's really good at it because it's not just about that, but her vocals are really high. Like, she could reach that high tone. So yeah, those two could make a good song together. Something so meaningful, and then we both would listen to it because of how meaningful it is, because they both know how to carry a message when they're gonna make a song about something important to share around the world, because it's a tough time that they're going through. So yeah, it's a good collab. It will be a good collaboration with Hayley, Kiyoko, and Kesha. So next one. Alright, so the second one that showed up is Camila Cabello. A collaboration with Hayley Kiyoko and Camila Cabello. Well, if we're gonna talk about the romance album and then the Familia album, those kinds of album with the Latin instruments, Latin vibe, it will not work with Hayley. But if we're gonna talk about CXOXO, then that is where she's gonna match with Hayley Kiyoko, because I'm just gonna make the CPUs continue fighting, and Is the background doing it? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I feel it will be a good collaboration with Hayley, Kiyoko, and Camila Cabello. And just hope Camila Cabello doesn't steal the entire song. Alright, so next artist. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Hayley, Kiyoko, and Charlie XCX would also be good as a collaboration to make a song together. Oh, okay, so which is gonna get beaten up by Terry. And back to the topic, yeah, because Hayley Kiyoko could sing fast. You know that one part in the chorus from Curious? Did you take his jacket at Santa Monica? It's just too fast. I can't say it too fast. And Charlie XCX is also fast at singing, so they both have that talent. They both can catch up with each other. That's why those two could flow well. Those two could definitely flow, I swear. So, yeah, but that's just my opinion. But I swear they could flow together, because if they could sing that fast, then a collaboration with Charlie XCX is gonna be good. Right. Moving on to the next artist. Alright, so now we're moving on to Jade, a former member of Little Mix because they disbanded. One of the nostalgic and the most wonderful times now gone. And then right here, so why Sia? Why a collaboration with Sia? Because Jade's vocals are so high. It's really high. Just like the rest of the members of the mix, their vocals are high, and Jade could really go that high, and Sia too. So both of them could get that high, and the vibe that Jade has, I've been watching her music videos. Well, she has multiple selves, and then blood painted her because some random ugly old lady ruined that in the fantasy MV. Then the raining popcorn, at the same time the trap in a plastic box. That vibe could Sia could also go with that vibe. Though they both can go with that vibe, and there. And they could all sing along. They both could reach that tone if they yes, they would definitely reach the tone. They would harmonize together. Even with the loudest point, I have a feeling they both could reach and harmonize perfectly together, even if it's a high note. Right. Now, moving on to the next artist that could be a good collaboration with Jade. So now we're moving to BB Rexa. So okay, why BB Rexa? Well, Jade and BB Rexa. There's also some, the instrumentals. They're almost clicking with Jade's instrumentals and BB Rexa's instrumentals. They're almost going to click, and they sound like cool pop, like one of the best pop musics if you combine them. Like it would be a good pop music if you combined Jade and BB Rexa. I have a feeling it will be one of the best pop music if they collaborate. I swear. So yeah, a collaboration with BB Rexa. Now moving on to the last one. Oops, sorry. I know. Yes, I am aware. So Saucy Santana. Jade having a collaboration with Saucy Santana. Guys would wonder how is that gonna work? Well, to my opinion, I sometimes listen to Saucy Santana, and I also heard of her from the Flop Talk community. And this time it's not about sex, trust me. Flop Talk isn't mostly about sex. It's more likely to be in aesthetic. I swear, Flop Talk community aren't sex addicts. They're more on slaying and being aesthetic, if they want to be aesthetic. Or they just want to say something random sometimes. But anyway, with Saucy Santana, I guess her aesthetic could also match Jade's aesthetic. I have a feeling it could work. Yes, Jade and Saucy Santana's aesthetic might work. It could work. So, when Saucy Santana's gonna rap, and then Jade is gonna sing, it will come out fabulous, and then it will be one of the new national anthem of the Floptopica if the Floptop community would find that song and then they will take it as a new Floptopica national anthem. Why am I suddenly bringing Floptopica and other Floptalk things in this video? I don't know. So let's just stick back to the topic and say it will be a good collaboration with Jade Delville and Saucy Santana. Right, moving on to the next artist of one of my faves.